I once walked in gray-green woods. The walk was all moss and earth, bark and the smell of spring. Nothing stirred. Then, pink flowers blinked at me from under the bramble. I blinked back. A white deer stepped out, slow as fog, eyes like moonlight. It looked straight through me. Then, 1, 2 steps backward, and then the deer vanished, soft as smoke. I stood alone again. The pink was gone. The green turned gray once more. Memory, my darlings, is not what you think. Hello, my darlings. It is I, the Fab, welcoming you to another perfectly peculiar morning. The coffee is brewed, the birds are judging me from the bushes. I am here to tell you that memory, yes, that elusive fluttering shadow of a thought, memory is not a filing cabinet. It's not even a junk drawer, though my memories do resemble one, particularly when it comes to where I read, saw, or heard about a thing. Have you ever said to yourself, I vaguely remember hearing or reading something most interesting, and I meant to enjoy it when I had time to concentrate. The time arrives, and all I can remember is that there exists a cool thing somewhere. So memory is not a filing cabinet. It's not a series of color-sorted wash baskets. No, memory is far more theatrical. It's a stage, my darlings, and every time you walk into it, the costumes are different, the lighting has been changed, and some of the cast members have rewritten their lines. You see, scientists, lovely people, though a bit obsessed with lab coats, tell us that memories are made in stages. They use the words encoding, consolidation, retrieval, and a few more syllables that would trip me this early in the morning. But I will do my best to explain it as I understand it. When you experience something, a glorious cake, a heartbreak, a new car smell, your brain takes note. This is called encoding. It's like scribbling a note on the back of a receipt because it was the only paper handy. Messy, quick, possibly near a grocery store. Now, if that scribble matters, if it's interesting or emotional, or you repeat it enough times, your brain will tuck it in somewhere cozier. That's consolidation. A lovely word, isn't it? Makes it sound like your memory is moving into a more expensive neighborhood. And when you retrieve a memory, when you remember it, darling, that's when things get spicy. Because it's not like opening a saved file. Oh no. It's like walking into your attic, finding a feathered hat and a dusty photo, and deciding to throw a theme party in your mind based on how you feel about that memory that day. The truth is, every time we remember something, it's not just recalling. We're rewriting. Like reheating soup and deciding it needs more salt and fewer regrets. This is called reconsolidation, and I dare say it's my favorite, because, sweet ones, that means we're never stuck with our memories exactly as they happened. We can polish them, embellish them, or gently tuck a few of them into soft focus and let them fade into impressionist brushstrokes. Isn't that wonderful? Let me tell you something. The hippocampus is the part of your brain that helps create and collect memories. I picture it like a librarian, cat's-eyes glasses, keeping tabs on where things are stored, not necessarily knowing what's in them, just pointing helpfully and saying, I think it's in the angsty poetry section next to your high school yearbook photo. Meanwhile, the amygdala, fancy name, difficult to embroider on a throw pillow, is sitting nearby going, yes, but was it dramatic? Because if it was joyful or tragic or terrifying, the amygdala pours glitter all over it and shouts, "You shall not forget this." And truly, who among us hasn't had a memory that stayed, not because it was important, but because it had flair? Here's the delicious bit. Those intense memories, even they can change. Because every time you recall one, you change the angle of the spotlight. You let in new details. Sometimes you let in grace. That, my loves, is the kindness of being human. We are not recorders. We are storytellers. Our memories do not sit still. They shift with time, mood, and the temperature of that cup of coffee that you started this morning and have reheated twice. Now, some clever people have found that if you try hard enough, you can forget things. You can practice not remembering. They call it suppression, but I call it emotional decluttering. Now, don't just shove everything under the rug, or one day someone will trip and all your questionable fashion choices will fly out like moths. I mean, who wants to see a pair of purple people pants fluttering around the living room? You can also embrace memory, study it, rehearse it, link it to smells and music and color. That's the marvelous part. You can make your memories feel lovely, if not exactly factual. I mean, who's going to argue with you if you remember that picnic as having fewer ants and more laughter? And yes, sometimes our memory fools us entirely. We might be absolutely certain that Uncle Fred wore a green tie to Aunt May's wedding, except Uncle Fred was in Sweden that year, and Aunt May eloped with a jazz singer. But still, your brain stitched something together, and the seams looked convincing. And those hand-stitched seams looked convincing because our brains are not filing cabinets. They're quilt makers, patchwork artists, and sometimes they just make up a square or two to fill in the space. So if you remember something that brings you comfort, even if a few of the details are wrong, keep it. Keep it with pride. The act of remembering is not an audit. It's a gentle act of embroidery. Stitch in a bit of golden thread where the day felt gray. Soften the sharp corners. Add a bit of sparkle. If someone barges in, insisting that your memory is wrong, and then they go on to recount an entirely different version of events, usually with you in bad lighting and them center stage with roses at their feet and crowds cheering, you know what I mean. Remember that their memory quilt is entirely different than yours. We have no way of knowing how often they work on it, or how it has been influenced by their hopes, dreams, desires, and nightmares. For all we know, their way of remembering is to rub ashes all over the colors and stitch memories together with barbed wire. That is their choice, but it doesn't have to be yours. In this house, and in this heart, we know that memories are not facts. They are treasures. Mutable, meaningful, occasionally messy, and always unique and personal. Now finish your coffee, darlings, and if you forget where you put your glasses again, just smile and say, maybe they're on an adventure. Because maybe they are. Until next time, remember, memories are not what happened. They are how we remember what happened. And that is entirely up to you.